It's the King J back with another video. Listen, we're gonna talk about what is happening with Tekken's Harada saying, as a producer, maybe I'm a failure. This is an interview for Game Business. It has 7K subscribers. The video, I don't know, it hasn't hit 1K yet. I don't know if people even know about this video, but it's 30 minutes. You know, get your popcorn. I'm gonna react to it and I'm gonna upload it. So yeah, without further ado, let's see what's going on, man. I'm gonna click that play button now.
He maybe has to think of the budget quite
So, yeah.
often in those roles, but he doesn't necessarily do it as much as he should sometimes because he focuses more on what the content should be, what's it look like when it's finished, right? Rather than so much trying
Okay,
to,
yeah.
to cut the cost. So from producer standpoint, maybe he's saying he's a failure, perhaps.
I wanna see what's
Hello
going on.
and welcome to the Game Business Show with me, Christopher Dring. Now, I've just been inside Evo in France. I've seen all sorts of fighting games, a bit of Dragon Ball, a bit of Tekken, a bit of King of Fighters. It's all very exciting. There's been lots of noise in there. But what I'm really excited about is I'm about to meet some fighting game royalty. I'm about to meet the development team behind Tekken 8. That includes Harada-san, that includes Michael Murray, that includes Kelda-san. I'm very excited. They're going to be talking about the state of the genre, their own passion about fighting games, and of course what's going on with Tekken. Enjoy. Hello everyone. I hope you're all comfortable. I'm sitting on the.
Good. Yeah, fine.
We live in Japan, so we're used to this long.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. We are here at Evo in France. How much of your time is now spent up going to things like this and doing esports events and going to the community?
結構時間割いてるのはこういうイベントに出たりとかするのに去年よりはちょっと落ち着いたな。そうですね。いやいや、そうですよね。
そうね、だからこの30年でいうとこういう大きいイベントになる前からね、特にこの2人はずっとこういうことにサポートすることに時間をかけてきたという意味ではすごくかけてるんですけど、最近やっぱりちゃんとコミュニティが独立して運営がついて、こうやってエボとか独立した組織になってきたので、
Oh, okay. So they give you English translation at 152.
僕らは本当に見に来て
Okay.
発
Well, I'd
表
guess
して
I'll wait.
っていうことだけで済むようにはなったよね。
We were just mentioning that, well, not as much as last year, but we were still going to various events. And Harada was mentioning, especially the two of us for many decades now, I guess you could say, have been going to many events. And before, there was a lot more grassroots, fan-based events. So I guess we were traveling a bit more, and our involvement was a lot deeper, I guess you could say. Where now we have some of these major tournaments like Evo that are run, by larger corporations, etc. now. So it's a little bit different. We just kind of show up and do the announcements, and then get to hang out with the fans a little bit. So it's changed a little bit over the years, he was saying.
Has it changed how you approach making?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, like, it's interesting because I do feel like the way how they do the announcements and stuff, it doesn't really feel like, I don't know, they do it, but there ain't that much energy. Do you reckon that's because, like, they just don't know if this game is doing well or not? Obviously, they probably have their own thoughts, but I don't know, man. Street Fighter's selling 6 million, Mortal Kombat selling 6 million, Tekken 8 ain't there yet. And as a fan, I'm pretty upset, man. So, yeah.
Tekken の作り方もそれによって
Okay,
なんか変わってたりする。
This helps. This actually helps.
すごいざっくりした思想だ。
Hold on. 323.
Harada just mentioned that it has changed a bit over the years how we develop games as a result. For example, from perhaps Tekken Tag Tournament to Tekken 7, Tekken 8, I guess you could say before those we were more creating games closer to exactly how we wanted to make them, and it was a more internal process, I guess you could say, where with the three...
That's key. What he's saying is key. So they had more hands-on and what they want to do with the game. And it's always led me to think that Tekken 8, I feel like it's more from the people above them. They want sales. They don't care about what they want. I feel like that's how I feel anyways. But I'll let them say what they need to say.
I just mentioned it was more, a lot more input from the community went into the direction of these games.
そうですね、大体でもセブンぐらいからその大きな大会をやっぱり e スポーツっていうものも始まって、その e スポーツの大会に合わせてキャラクターを発表して、で
the places that we chose to reveal content and how we do it changed a bit. As in, we'd go, for example, 7 and 8, more particularly, we'd show to a certain event, and the big draw was that we had a big announcement of a new character or season or something like that, right? And this has kind of dictated that flow that we go to this tournament, reveal this character, then we get all the feedback from the fans after they've seen the reveal, etc. And then we kind of implement that into our development process for the rest of the content that we're developing throughout the year.
Michael, because you started off in localization, isn't it, with Tekken? And
Yes, exactly.
So wait, you reckon that's what happened with Mirizu then and the ogre thing? Because there was no indication of ogre before. Maybe on the stage though, because I did see the snakes and I did say that there was probably going to be something to do with ogre. But do you reckon Asian ogre was thought about with Mirizu before people's reaction to Mirizu, or do you reckon it was after? Let me know in the comment section below.
Feedback from the fans after they've seen
in localization, isn't it, with Tekken? And
yes, exactly. So Tekken 4 is when I first joined the company.
yeah. So is it watching this arc, and now you're, I guess, watching how maybe the fans influence the game versus perhaps how it was maybe you were more the influence in the game. How radical has that been?
結構の俺の観点からの変わったやつで。So it's quite drastic, I would say. It's been, 25 years almost since I originally joined the localization team. The first ever we had at Namco at the time.
Yeah.
And like you said, I was a fan strictly before that. So I was one of the people going to the arcades, casually playing the game with my friends, seeing Harada in, Arcadia and some of those legendary magazines from the time. And then going to first see the internal process and how it works was quite different. Because, like I said, we had the arcades. That was the main way that we released the game. We did the play test and gathered the feedback from the fans in that manner. Internet was something only more privileged people had, whether you're a student at a university or certain people. So
shout out to the dial-up team. That's me.
Man,
at dial-up.
YouTube videos or any of these things. So from that perspective, I think it's changed quite drastically. And the development team didn't really have much interaction with the foreign audience as well. I know they would show up to the arcades and watch how the game was being played, but it was really after I joined that Harada and some of the team members started going out to EVO and interacting directly with the foreign fans.
Obviously, you've got these fans that want certain things, but at the same
Shout out to
time,
the foreign
you
fans,
have to
man.
make Tekken for the widest
Me
possible
included.
audience. How hard is it to get that balance between satisfying what your hardcore want and what the casual fans are, or thinking about what the broader audience might want?
It's a very pertinent question. そのハードコアの人たち、主に多分今日とか明日とか会う人ですけど、その人たちをまず念頭。
Alright, let's bear with me. The internet air is not that
So you
great.
just mentioned that similar to what I was talking about, the initial audience that we had earlier in the series, based in the arcade, was very visible, very easy to grasp and understand. But then when we're going towards, when we were developing the base of the game, obviously the game mechanics and those kind of things, we're geared more towards that audience. But then we moved into the console package. Really, that's where you saw a lot of these modes that were added to. Many times the first time for a fighting game, such as some of the CG movies or the story elements, other methods of enjoying the game, with a focus of maybe sitting on the sofa with your friends or brothers and sisters and playing the game. So that focus shifted quite a bit during the console version, and some of these bonus features that the series became famous for were kind of added with that audience in mind.
You've been showing off upcoming characters and new DLC. How much work and consideration goes into adding a new
I want to hear this.
to the world of Tekken?
そうですね。例えばアーマーキングの場合は、鉄拳シリーズにすでにもう賛成しているキャラクターなので、
So Nakatsu was just mentioning that the process differs quite a bit depending on which character it is. For example, to give some of the more recent characters that we're showing off, Armor King is a character that already previously existed within the series. So the concept is already there. So that's quite different than the instance of, for example, a brand new character like Miyarizu, which we've recently shown off, right?
Miyarizu.
Which has
So I don't know.
appeared in the
I wasn't saying it
series
wrong.
before. So since that initial concept isn't there, you have to do the research from zero. So, for example, I wasn't able to attend at that time, but Nakatsu and Harada went directly to Madagascar to interact with the local population and
That's
find
big.
out exactly, factual details about the culture and the region before then trying to flesh it into a character. So that whole process for a brand new character from scratch is usually a year to a year and a half, where one of the returning characters like Armor King, who already has a character concept fleshed out, is roughly 6 months to 8 months per se.
That representation, getting that right, the language right, the character right, is so important to you, isn't it? I mean, why? Why do you do that?
その現地に行くっていう理由もちょっと昔と今で理由が変わってきていて、ただ我々元を大切にしてるってことですね。
So he was just mentioning that we didn't start off trying to make it authentic as the most important aspect of the development. It started with trying to come up with a concept for a brand new character in a brand new region that really excites people, right? And that's kind of the starting point back from early in the series, and it hasn't changed from today. Obviously, other developers probably do the same when they add a brand new character or stage. The reason why it's a bit more important and different recently is actually because of how big the internet is now, and leading to everyone feeling like they're an expert on subject matter, even if they haven't actually been and seen it themselves. So...
Whoa! What's with the shots? What's with the... I ain't gonna lie though. I kind of hear what he's saying. But what's with the shots? I'm trying to hear this though. Let me hear.
We didn't want subject matter. Internet is now, and leading to everyone feeling like they're an expert on subject matter, even if they haven't actually been and seen it themselves. So
I respect the shot though.
Want to, because when we actually are researching the character, and we often link it to they speak a certain language that's of that certain region, even though the other characters they communicate in their own language. It's a peculiar Tekken thing, but we like to have that kind of authentic element, and then also the martial arts that the character uses often is based on something in a real area, right? And so we wanted to pay the utmost respect to the people who are actually involved in those martial arts and make sure that is spot on. But like we're saying, it's also for the fans as a whole who don't live in that region, but also fans from the region who feel like, I'm really happy that this character is developed to represent us. And so if we don't go and do the thorough research, then you could be just like everyone else on the internet, feeling like you know what the country is like, and you make a character and it turns out to be totally different than the real thing. So that's why we're placing so much importance on that aspect.
Let's be honest though. So I gotta stop it there for a bit because I wanted to get my 2 pence on it. So that's been said, but then wasn't Mirizu's face portion, like her nose and stuff, wasn't that changed because of what the internet was saying to you? You know what I mean? It's like, not trying to throw no shade or nothing like that. It's pretty direct, but Mirizu's face and stuff, that was spoken about quite a lot, and then it got changed. So I don't feel like you should like throw shots at the internet. Like, there are people on there that can be idiots. There are people on there that can be that for sure. But let's be honest. Time and time again, the internet has tried to help Bandai Namco with Tekken. Time and time again. Right? And you lot seem like you lot don't want to listen to anyone. It's kind of like you lot have got your own ideas and you lot want to run with it. But, I feel like the internet also can help as well, with certain things. The way how certain characters have been toned down. Like, if the internet never spoke to you, Season 2 would have been even worse than what it is right now. So let's not forget that when people are saying to you Season 2, there's issues, certain moves would have been hella plus on block still. So, yeah.
That's a great answer. Harada-san, you talked
No shots though.
about
Shout out to
video
Harada
games
and
cost to
Michael
make
Murray.
now, how compared to 10 years ago, even compared to Tekken 7. And obviously there's so much investment you're putting into even the characters and that kind of thing. Is it something you're having to manage now, that now the way the games market is, you're having to be more mindful of budgets and where things are heading?
I want to hear this because I'm hearing the budget thing is to do with the higher ups. So I want to hear this. Oh, the internet here is so. I ain't gonna lie. The hotel that I thought this hotel was gonna be good, and now the internet is just it's gone like this again. I do want to hear more information. Okay, it does sound quite interesting. What's going on? Yeah, my internet is starting to crash out. Here we go.
こういうのに陥ってますね。
So Harada was just mentioning this is a topic he touches on often, obviously, like you mentioned. And it's something that probably all developers face. But the way that budgets have, or the budget necessary to create a proper AAA title has just ballooned over the past couple of years, especially even maybe the past 7 to 8 years. It's drastically different. So, with that said, obviously, it's something that as he was, various roles as well himself, a game designer and producer and director, etc. He maybe has to think of the budget quite often in those roles, but he doesn't necessarily do it as much as he should sometimes because he focuses more on what the content should be, what's it look like when it's finished, right? Rather than so much trying to cut the cost. So from a producer standpoint, maybe he's saying he's a failure, perhaps, compared to some people, in our company and Ben and Hapka Entertainment who are, more adept at that kind of money side of it.
One more thing. 一個すごい疑問なのが、ここの3人もそうですし、この周りにいるバンダイナムコのスタッフもそうなんですけど、この我々の給料が別に上がってるわけじゃない。別費単体は上がってないんだけど、並列の人が増えてるよね。だからもう本当これなんとかしたいよね。
So he was just adding to the answer that he just wants to make sure everyone's aware his salary hasn't ballooned with the development costs at all. Contrary to opinions on the internet, he does not drive a Lamborghini like they're saying. So it's quite odd, I guess you could say, that the dev costs have raised so much and the salaries have stayed pretty much the same, especially in Japan. And that brought up from a producer standpoint that that's because the number of people involved in a project now is drastically more than it used to be. So when you think about that, and he said, why is that? I wish we could do something to, to be more effective with that, but it's a sign of the times, right?
I feel like I've just walked into a dev meeting. Well, I mean, Harada-san, you've been doing this for over 30 years. You've been doing it for what, 26 years. And
何年
ですか鉄拳関わってからですか鉄拳関わってからでいうと、多分15年ぐらいですか
15
years. I mean, what keeps you interested? What keeps you going?
なんで続けられるのか。
Nah, for real. What keeps them not going to do this? Can it get hella verbal online?
僕はこれ実はいろんなところで昔話してたんですけど、僕の最初の
So Harada was just mentioning that, and he's mentioned this before, but his initial 10 years were all about proving himself that he loves fighting games more than any other developer on earth. And so that was the driving force behind him for quite some time in this first 10 years. And then he felt like he kind of proved it to some extent with the revenue and the milestones that the series had hit after that.
Congrats.
But then it kind of transitions to another motivation after we've been traveling the world with together to all these events and interacting with fans. You kind of, as you're working on the game, sometimes you can see their faces because you get to recognize them and know them. And that really is like who you're doing all of this for. Which I think is the same for all of us.
Well, is there anything you'd like to do next? Is there anything that you go like just for? I can't imagine doing anything with Tekken. But do you have anything else you'd like to do?
なんかやりたいことある？鉄拳しかやってこなかった。
いや僕鉄拳だけと思われてるんですけど、割といろいろやってるんですけど、実はいろいろ作ってきてるんですけど、仕事でいっぱいいっぱいって感じですかね。どうですか？
So Harada was just mentioning that, well, he does other projects, as he's mentioned in the past, outside of Tekken as well. So he has been able to do many different things. But he said recently he just wants to take it easy a bit. As he mentioned on Twitter, his kidney function is down by 30-some%. So he's feeling a little bit tired. He wants to recover, but apparently kidneys don't really recover that much, so he's stopped drinking alcohol and been improving his diet. So for me, yeah, I mean, I like he did, and we talked about. I was in localization and marketing and other stuff, so I got to do other titles like MotoGP and Ace Combat and a lot of other cool stuff as well outside of Tekken. But I don't know. Also on the side, one of my passions is obviously Muay Thai, and I've been helping out the owner of my gym with some stuff, promotion wise. So that's been kind of interesting thing to start off as a
That's
beginner
good to know,
and,
man.
and to get more experience in. So なんかさ
そうですね。まあでも自分もやっぱり格闘ゲーム遊んでたからこのゲームの開発者になってるし、鉄拳の思います。
And Nakatsu just mentioned that he's a fighting game player from the community before he even joined the team. So experiencing that firsthand, playing with friends and brothers and siblings, and how it kind of connects people together. So and he also has worked on several other titles besides Tekken. So he has that experience and just that special thing about fighting games about connecting people. So Harada's joking, you like Virtual Fighter, right? You could help him out if you. He said, haha, it's funny, but something. Like a different
Shout out
element
Virtual
maybe
Fighter.
fighting games to work on to be cool because it is something that really brings people together.
Yeah. I was going to ask one last question. I'm conscious of the time. We're here at Evo. It's really exciting. It's wonderful to see so many fighting fans here in France. What's your opinion on the current state of the fighting game, the genre, basically? Is it in a good place?
Oh, this spicy is spicy. It's spicy. It is spicy. That's a good question. That is spicy. Oh, snap.
どういうところなんですかね。なんかいい感じの状況なのか、変わったところあるのかとか。
I want to know what he says.
自分の解釈によって違う。
Yeah, that's a lengthy question. That's a lengthy answer, boy.
これは難しいです来て
Well, that people talked about a golden age of fighting games back in the day, etc. But if you look at the parameters that measure success to some degree, whether that's revenue or copies sold or whatever, there's actually probably an increase in the participation of the FGC as a whole recently.
Okay.
And if you look at other things such as these kind of events that we have being streamed and people who are participating, whether they're average streamers or big influencers, or there's very different types of people all kind of together participating in the same online atmosphere, right? And so that a lot of big companies are coming in and putting money into advertisements and things for these events being streamed, and a lot of influencers making big money off of their streams, etc. But our games, the revenue, etc., doesn't reflect any of this kind of stuff. It's really feels like a trend or a big buzzword or something. So it's quite interesting to see how that might change. For example,
Hold on there. I have to pause that. You have Tekken Shop. Anyone that buys items from the Tekken Shop, that's revenue towards the game, no? Or am I getting crazy? Like, this is not like how the games were back in the day. There was no shops where you actually purchased, like, actual real-life money to go and get costumes and stuff like that. So I'm sure that adds to the revenue. Now, obviously, the sale of the game is obviously most important for sure, but I do feel like when you go into the shop and you're buying stuff, it's the same thing. You're getting revenue for the actual game as well. As in, that doesn't count as, like, say, for example, it's 3 million sales. That doesn't count as 3 million sales, but if you're buying stuff consistently or buying stuff even once a month, once every 6 months or whatever, that's still revenue that goes towards the game. It's just not actually purchasing the actual game. So I don't know about that.
most of the tournaments are licensed for free to people who want to run them or stream them, etc. Occasionally you're seeing certain events that pop up where they're charging pay-per-view or something like that. But just
Street
to
Fighter.
see how the money side of that changes is something that he's quite interested in.
Aye, Harada, don't do it, man. Don't do it. That Street Fighter 6, what they did where they're charging people to restream the pay-per-view, it's not a good idea. To be honest, personally, I don't feel like fighting games should really charge. I mean, they could do what they want. Yeah, if that's how they feel, they could do what they want. But if they're thinking about community-based, there's a lot of things Street Fighter I don't agree with. And, I've come from both Street Fighter and Tekken. For example, before the actual Capcom the actual Pro Tour, they included all of these community events. and they were a part of the tour. Now it's completely different. Ever since it's been completely different, I haven't even followed the Capcom Pro Tour, right? Because I'm just like, oh, well, I don't even know what it's about anymore, right? I watch the finals, but I won't watch like all the like whatever they got, like the World Warrior and all of that stuff. That's just me. Tekken ain't at that stage. Street Fighter is a bigger game and it's getting backlash. Tekken is not at that stage. I think what you lot need to do over there, you know, I think you lot need to work on speaking to the community more directly. I feel like, if I be honest, Harada, I've tweeted a couple times and I don't really get a response. And it's like stuff that actually makes sense. I feel like you get angry at people on the internet with, you know, not their real profiles, enemy profiles and stuff like that. And I'm like, look, there's real people out here that's been supporting your game. Like, let's not even talk about me. If there's loads of other people that have tweeted and tried to give advice, tried to explain things. There's creators that have said things. There's streamers that have said things. Pro players, professional players, world-class players even that have said things. And it's like, you lot have been like not listening and stuff like that, which has led to why Tekken 8 Season 2 is like this. So don't think about them pay-per-views and all of that stuff. I don't think that's a Tekken thing. Tekken has always been about community, which is why everyone gets together. We may speak a different language, you know, but more time when there's like tournaments overseas and stuff, we all come together for the passion of the game. And I feel like most people have stuck together for Tekken 8 Season 2 because of the memories that Tekken has brought all together. Tekken ain't really brought me no memories. You know, like, obviously there's stuff that's been done, and obviously Bandai, shout out for you lot for, you know, helping me with the commercial trailer and stuff like that. But I do believe, like, the previous games, like people traveling, all of that stuff, yeah, like, I don't feel like a pay-per-view would work. You lot might disagree with me. I would like to hear what you lot say in the comment section down below, because obviously what you lot say is also important. I might be wrong, and you lot can correct me if I'm wrong. But let me know in the comment section down below. Let's move on.
Wow, it's certainly developing. Is it? I've seen a headline with Capcom's charging for. Is that right?
You said that, not me.
あれまあ別の例だろう、別にあれが代表的な例だと思ってた。
That's just one example of many, right?
Yeah.
So I've thought about your question a lot as well in the past, and I think that one thing that's interesting is the atmosphere of how online plays into the community, because the FGC is kind of a subset of the world as a whole, right? And right now the world is just so divided on so many different topics, and people are, at each other's throats. And I think it appears like that in the FGC online as well, which is why it's so important that we still have events like Evo France, because when you come out to these events of people who are passionate about the game and they're playing together, it's totally different than something that you would see online. So I really think that more than ever, events like these are important.
So that's the internet. The internet's going. I don't know. I think this is a very interesting interview. I think pay-per-view, if they wanted to do an event and they had like celebrities and they were like, okay, yeah, like you lot have to pay to have this person be there, then fair enough, I understand it. But I wouldn't think like, you know, Tekken World Tour Finals or anything like that should be a pay-per-view in my opinion. I think that doesn't make sense. I really do feel it for these guys, you know, because again, like I said, I'm a huge Tekken fan. It's not about dogpiling on someone because, you know, it feels cool or it's, you know...
Not just for people to view, but to actually...
Socially accepted. I'm going to finish off this in a second. I'm just going to let it load. But yeah, I don't feel like that's cool. From what I was saying from before with this game, I think I've been pretty consistent when I've said I don't like the game, right? And I did say, and I've said it many times, that moment of Clive, when I said, if you keep making a decision like this, you're going to end up killing the game. I got dogpiled for that. And it's interesting how the tables have turned because what's happened? You know, I am never that person. The thing is with this channel is this, I'm super opinionated, right? And I've never been that person that's going to be pushed into a corner because of social media or tweets or any of that stuff. That's never going to happen. But what I will say is I'm happy that I stuck to my guns and I wasn't like, you know, being one of those creators that were just like, oh yeah, this game's amazing, this and the other, and lying, because now that it's gone full circle, I still make the same content. I'm still consistent. You know, other creators, other streamers are not the same anymore because they fell off the game. They don't have the same love or passion anymore. And it shows. This is what I'm saying. So I'm happy that I've kept real to what I said and what I feel. I don't like to lie. And that's the thing that I want to get across is if you don't like a game, you should just be honest. Like, okay, maybe for the bag, people will be like, oh, yeah, for the bag, they will lie, and that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. But this is why we're in the situation we're in now. Season 2 is I got hopes for Season 3, but if Season 3 doesn't do well, it might be time to just pack up Tekken 8 and just focus on Tekken 9, in my opinion. How do you lot feel about that? Let me finish off the rest of the video.
And to participate.
Yeah, to connect with one another. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
So yeah, they look like they wanted to get up so quick, boy. They wanted to get out quick.
For people to view, but to actually come out and to
Appreciate it. Thank you.
no problem.
That's it for today.
Wow. I do feel like it's tough for them because it's like they're developers plus they're the people, they're the face of Tekken. I think, like I've said before on Twitter or X, I've said this, that I feel like you need an esports social media guy now. Like, I think it's time. I think you lot just need to work on the game, get someone that is, media trained, that can talk for you lot, and just you lot keep it moving. Stop like responding, blocking people on Twitter. All of those things is making people feel like you're alienating your community. And I honestly feel like you lot don't want to be doing that in this situation. A lot of people that are still streaming, they're keeping your game alive. A lot of these people that are traveling around the world, yeah, I've been to two tournaments, but I'm 100% not talking about myself. I'm talking about all these players that are professional players that are sponsored, signed, and they're traveling for a game that they don't like just because of the love of the game. They need a real round of applause because I couldn't imagine myself wanting to have to win this game that's so stressful. This game is probably the most stressful Tekken game I've played in a very, very long. I don't even know if there's any others. Tekken 5DR was amazing. Tekken 6 was Tag 2 was a bit stressful, but I was very fun because of how difficult it was. Tekken 7 2Ds were annoying, but this game is probably the most stressful Tekken 8 game I've ever played, and I don't think that it could ever get any worse than this. The heavy plus frames on block, all of that stuff makes this stressful. But moving on from that, we got Mirizu coming out, and then we got thoughts about Season 3. So they probably planned for Season 3 and the characters that they've got. Do you think Season 3 can save Tekken 8? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll see you lot there. Thank you lot very much. I'm in Thailand in a minute. You lot are going to be getting some great content. You know what it is already, so make sure that you lot subscribe. YouTube membership as well. There'll be exclusive content on there from Thailand as well. Yeah, other than that, take it easy, everyone. Peace.
Simmer down. Simmer now. Couple kicks to your boat. I'm a winner now. Like Eddie with the feet. I'm a killer now. Simmer down. Simmer now.